Hello and welcome to another episode of Coach's Commentary. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the Bangladesh side, which is being selected to play in the upcoming Asia Cup. There have been some interesting choices made in the selection of the squad. To start off with, the skipper Shakib Al Hasan has been given the mantle of captaincy after a long break. After that, if you have a look at the squad, it's a very interesting combination. They picked just 4 top order batters and then they've placed a lot of hopes on their spinning all-rounders. As many as 5 spinning all-rounders are there in the side, and then they have those 2 wicket-keeper batters who are really good with the bat and who got perhaps more number of hundreds than the top order batsmen of the current squad of Bangladesh. And then they got 5 seamers, out of which 2 are left-arm seamers, and of course there's only one specialist cricketer in the whole squad, which is the left-arm spinner, which is Nasun Ahmed. Otherwise, the choices have been interesting. For one, just 4 batters picked, top order batters. Normally, you would have the other sides pick a lot of batters because in the 50-over format, you would need a lot of batters for the simple reason, unlike the T20 format, there will be times when the batting side or the batting unit rather will be challenged, and therefore having a little bit of depth is always going to be really beneficial to the side. That's the reason why I say it's interesting that Bangladesh is gone in only with 4 top order batters, out of which 2 are left-handers, Mohammad Naeem and Tanzil Hassan. Both of them like to play their shots and they like to get their runs quickly. They look to make use of the power play and garner as many runs as possible in order to give that foundation that middle order batters always want. As far as the middle order batting of the Bangladesh side is concerned, a lot will depend on Shakib Al Hasan, who's a seasoned campaigner, and he's also got the added responsibility and the extra motivation to prove a point or 2. And of course, he'll have a lot of support from his wicket-keeping batters, Mushfizur Rahim or Litton Das, whichever the case may be, according to the situation and the conditions. And then the interesting point is that the 4 off-spinners are the batting all-rounders, which leaves no room for a leg spinner. Perhaps they don't have one to pick from the pool of players that they have who are good enough to represent the country. But however, they've decided to go in with 4 off-spinning options, rather batters who can bowl useful off-spin. As far as the fast bowling unit is concerned, they will be served by Mustafizur Rahman, the left-arm seamer, and he'll also have company in Shariful Islam, who's another left-arm fast bowler. Of course, they will have the usual Taskin Ahmed to support the key left-armer Raman, and they also have 2 backup seamers in the ranks. So it'll be interesting to see how Shakib Al Hasan will make use of this particular squad. He's got perhaps got to look in a different manner altogether. He can say either the cup is half empty or it's half full. That's what he's got to decide given the squad that he has. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, they've always been highly talented. They also can really upset the best in the business on a given day, but consistency is something they've never really mustered at all in all these years. However, there is no dearth of talent, but the biggest problem with them has been that they've not been really good on the field. They got to somehow try and make sure that they are really good on the field. That's something that can be done easily by any side if they put their mind to it, because fielding is something that does not require anything at all. All it takes is a little bit of effort and also the fizz to try and support the bowlers on the field. Of course, the squad that they have picked for the Asia Cup will come in handy because the pitches in Sri Lanka might be helpful to the spinners, and therefore having the options of 5 spinning all-rounders is something that will come in handy perhaps for Bangladesh Let's not forget that most of them are frontline batters who can bowl off spin too. But when the pitch is really helping the spinners, it doesn't matter whether you're a part-time bowler or a regular spinner. It's just a case of somebody landing it in the right areas and bowling with a little bit of common sense. Shakib Al Hasan has got a challenge on his hands because he, for one, will realize that captaincy is always a double-edged sword in this neck of the woods. He knows that if the team does not perform well enough, he'll be the one to carry the can, considering the fact that he had a little bit of skirmish with one of the other senior members of the side, and there was a little bit of a drama some time ago. But however, he would prefer to lead the side, which gives him an opportunity to prove a point or two and also have that extra motivation at this stage of his career. The reason why I say this is that because if a cricket has been around for long and he's been performing consistently over a long period of time, he can get a little bit bored at times, and hence it's always better for him to have that extra bit of responsibility for him to be competitive as ever and follow the process that he's been following all these years to achieve extraordinary success. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shakib Al Hasan goes about his job as a captain, and then, of course, his all round ability that he has is always going to be a big boost and boon for Bangladesh. And as far as the others are concerned, it's a case of them looking to be competitive and also ensuring that they really challenge the other fancied sides in the competition like India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Of course, I'm sure as far as the countries that I mentioned are concerned, like India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, they'll never ever take Bangladesh lightly because in the past they've always been surprised by Bangladesh, and that too at the wrong time in certain competitions where a win mattered to the other side. But be that as it may, it's a fresh season, and also Bangladesh had almost about 8 players representing the emerging side in the Asia Cup that was conducted recently a few weeks ago in Sri Lanka, which means that the Bangladesh selectors were aware of who they were going to pick in this Asia Cup squad, and they also ensured that leading up to the Asia Cup, quite a few young players had some game time and also provided them a platform to gain some useful experience playing against the others in this subcontinent. I'm sure that would have come in handy because that competition was played in Sri Lanka as well, and therefore those who played there in the emerging cup would be familiar with the conditions, and that will come in handy when they are up against the best in the business, and hopefully Bangladesh will give the other sides a run for their money. But as far as the squad is concerned, it's got quite a few gaps, but in white ball cricket, a few little gaps can be made up by 3-4 players putting up their hands and doing a little bit more than the rest in the playing 11. Let's see if that happens with Bangladesh, and I'm sure that they would know what it is that they have to do, especially when they're very familiar with the other sides as well. It's going to be an interesting competition because all these sides are very familiar with the conditions. There's hardly anything separating them. It'll always come down to what happens on that particular day. And Bangladesh, as always, will give everybody a jolt or two. And on the other hand, the other sides will also be wary of Bangladesh. On this note, I'd like to sign off by saying that until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.